Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Honorable Scott Morgan?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Morgan. All right, so we are really going to jump into, if anybody has been to council meetings recent, we have fun, and today is even more fun as we have our friends from the Livonia Warriors, which is a combination of all three high schools, and I think we even go younger. But with the work that they do and the competitions and the work they put into it is second to none. I've been to a few of these events. You guys have taken everybody for tours, good relationship with the community. We love everything you guys are doing, and we'll support you in any way we can. With that, we do have, like I said, the special recognitions and tributes, and this might be a demo. So I don't know if there is a lead speaker for our friends to kind of give us maybe a background, and then kids, feel free. We all signed waivers, so you just throw the stuff at him.
Could you get the robot to do the gal?
Yes, exactly.
Good evening, City of Livonia. My name is Iselina Carlini, and I lead up all of the FIRST robotics programs for Livonia Public Schools. The Livonia Warriors are entering into their 17th year this year with the upcoming season. This evening we have two young ladies that have accomplished themselves very much so on the team, and I would like to introduce you. We have both our Livonia Warriors team, which is 10th, 11th, and 12th graders from Stevenson, Churchill, and Franklin, and we have the Tyros team, which are all 9th graders from Stevenson, Franklin, and Churchill, and they have a few 10th grade captains. So today we have a 10th grade captain for the Tyros team. Her name is Catherine Grunwald, and we have a member of the Livonia Warriors team. Her name is Kira Middleton, and I'll have the girls come up together.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Kira Middleton. This is Catherine Grunwald. Hi. So we just wanted to tell you a bit about our season to just start off. So this season was Crescendo, which was themed around music and that. So the goal for this game was to sort of shoot notes into this speaker, which was in order to gain points for the season. And then there was also an amp, and you could get amplified. And it was all around music and that sort of thing. Being around music, we decided for the Warriors to have our theme be Jukebox. And our robot name was the Crystal Jukebox, around crystals and music and all that stuff. And then the Tyros.
The Tyros this year decided to go with a different sort of form on music, and we took it to sonar, which were sound waves instead. So we had a theme more based around sonar and kind of sea and oceanic ideas.
They had a yellow submarine. So yeah, and then we were also very honored this year to get to attend the Milford competition, and we also hosted the Livonia District competition, which was a great opportunity that we love to get to do every year. At our Milford competition, the Warriors were very honored to, for the first time ever, win the Engineering Inspiration Award, which never before won by our team. And this opportunity allowed us to go present at states to judges at a state level, which was very exciting. And the Tyros at Milford were lucky to receive
We received the Imagery Award at Milford for the robot design.
Well, just for that, let's give them a round of applause for Lynn and Nolan.
We also made it to eliminations at Milford, which was very exciting. We got to compete in the eliminations for those games, which was good. And then fast forward to our Livonia competition, we also got to take part in eliminations there with actually our teams were combined for eliminations working together on the thing. So it was very interesting getting to work with our sibling team, which is fun. And at the competition, we were very honored to win sustainability, which focuses on the environmental impact and also our impact in surrounding our community and sustaining our team to be successful. And the Warriors, again, were very honored to get.
The Tyros were honored to get the Imagery Award for our second time at our second competition for, once again, the robot design and the work that our imagery squad put into the name and the theme of our robot.
It's very rare to win two of the same award at the same competition, so it's really a statement of how well designed the robot was. And so we were very glad to be able to partake in the Livonia District competition. While at the Livonia District competition, the Lieutenant Governor and his family came by to view our competition, learn about FIRST. He stopped in the pits, which are where teams work on their robots and prepare for the games. And so he took time to talk to us there and was very excited to learn about the efforts we do in STEAM and everything. So it's very exciting to have him there. And then following that for states, we went to present again for Engineering Inspirations. And while there, we made sure to make our presence known. We handed out pamphlets there, encouraging teams, to help other people understand what's going on and sort of to help family members and everyone understand the game. So it was a very exciting season. And we also had the honor during the season, very honored to help a FLL team in India. The team in India is comprised of blind children, and they're a great FLL team in that. So we helped get funding for them through some fundraisers and that at Chipotle and some other things. It was very, very helpful. It was very helpful to them, which was very glad for us to do. And then following the season, recently we got the chance to talk about our robotics organization and our team with the governor of Michigan. And we've also hosted our own FLL event where we invited different teams over to our new facility at the Career Center. And we hosted the FLL event where they competed and got to show off their robots once again. Yeah, it's been a very packed season for us, as you can probably guess. But it's definitely, we've had a lot of achievements this season that have been very amazing for us to have, and opportunities that we are really excited to have gotten. And we also had the honor this season of getting to have other teams come to the building to use our practice field. So we got to build even more connections with other teams and sort of be a hub for other teams in Livonia, as sort of setting it as Livonia as a hub for robotics as a whole, which was very exciting to get to have this year. So yeah.
So we can sense your energy, honestly. Listen, I give you immense credit for coming up here with a packed audience and being able to have that much passion for what you do is awesome. So keep it up. If there's anything, like I said, that we could do from a city or city council, you just let us know. We'll try to get some good press out there and share it out on the city's website so we can just spread the awareness on what you guys do and how we can support you as a community. So thank you. You guys keep it up. I'll open up the council if anybody from council has anything.
Does this do any tricks or anything?
We'll do this, and then we'll open up the council and then show, have fun. Take us through some fun things. Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to say congrats, ladies. It's really impressive. Everyone up here knows I'm probably the biggest nerd behind the dais, being a high school math teacher, although Mr. Zielinski, being an engineer, might be right there with me, and I'm sure he's excited to see what this thing can do as well. But congratulations. It's really inspiring what you guys are doing. It shows that Livonia is going to have a very educated workforce as well, and this is the future. So to Mrs. Carlini also, thank you for coming out with the team, and we're excited to see what it's going to do.
I'm gonna give council a little time to just say the thanks and good accolades, and then feel free to throw stuff at us after. I'm gonna go to Councilwoman Toy, and
by that you meant throw them at Morgan, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And Councilman Donovic too.
Well, thank you for coming back. This has always been very enlightening, and I think we were over at Churchill High School. Clerk Nash, or actually now she's Treasurer Nash, and visited with you early on. I also had the opportunity to view Livonia from the state level, where all those teams came from across the state, and that was fascinating. I was so proud that our hometown, Livonia, was represented and did an awesome job. This was several years ago, because I'm old. So it's a great opportunity for young people. And I'm glad to see women so involved in it as well. Thank you for being there, and thank you for your leadership. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
Councilwoman Toy. Councilwoman Budzinski.
Yes, I just wanted to say you girls did a phenomenal job speaking and presenting. It is not easy to talk in front of a crowd. I wish I was as well spoken, especially without notes. So your leadership shines through. Keep doing the good work. We really appreciate you coming here tonight.
Councilman Jolly.
Thank you, sir. So I'll just say, so my day job is at Lawrence Tech, and I do a lot with the engineering college and the STEM center. And the students who do FIRST Robotics come in and they succeed right off the bat, no matter what they study. So I know you all have bright futures, and we're proud to have you in Livonia and proud of all of your accomplishments. Thank you.
And with that, let the fun and games begin. You want to give a tour on, or a little demo on what you got? This is the 2832. What's the name of this guy? Is that just a 2832 robot?
This robot is named Green Lightning, and he is actually from last year's game. Last year's game, he was a race car. The sonar machine and the crystal jukebox are resting at Livonia Career Tech Center because they're still in competition. They're going to be at the Taylor Big Bang at the end of June. So we are tuning those robots up, and we want to protect them a little bit because they're still in competition. But, you know, he is now in retirement, so we brought him to show you. And I'm going to have the girls kind of set up their demo here. And while they do that, come on, girls, set it up. And then while they do that, I'm going to talk about this past weekend because it is exciting for me that we hosted a little tournament at the Livonia Career Tech Center, and they were all little kids. Now, I've been in secondary my whole life and postgraduate my whole life, so I really don't work with little kids very much, but they were adorable. And we had two of our teams that were not able to make the fall competitions, the Nijiro Robo Cranes and the Webster Robo Cats. And they came in, they did really well in the competition, they learned a lot, and they had a ton of fun. And at the end of the event, when all of the accolades were made, the Nijiro Robo Cranes won the high score of the day. They were the highest scoring robot, and they won the All-Star Award. And the Webster Wildcats won the Best Robot Design Award, and they were the champions of the tournament. So not only are our high schoolers highly successful, and as well as our elementary schools.
No, this is great. Yeah, give them a round. Let's hear it. This is the fun part when we can showcase things that happen in the city. So I appreciate you guys coming out. This is great. Take it away.
Get robbed.
This robot was designed to be in a pick and place game, and he handles two game pieces. This cube, which he can place on a platform, and actually he can kind of spit it out, so be careful. We'll spit it maybe this way. It's a rather gentle game. And he also can pick up these cones and place these cones on posts on a scoring platform. And unfortunately, we've moved some things recently, and all of our equipment for this robot is in the truck. But we're doing the best we can do here.
That's good.
Do we want to?
With the robot.
Yeah, we got to get a giant glamour shot too. Let's get a giant picture here. Uh-oh. It's at a city attorney. He's fairly new in the position, so.
Oh, that's an overhand.
Baptize him.
Now, if you listen very closely, he talks to the drive team, this robot. All of those different sounds mean something, and so our programmers are brilliant, and our drive team is super smart too. So they've got all kinds of magic going on.
Well, the future looks in good hands.
Can we have our whole team come up and take a picture with you, those that are here?
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention at the elementary level, We had our first team ever qualify for state championship, and that was the Buchanan Robo Bears. So we got all kinds of things going on. Mentors, students.
My circus, not my mountains.
Look over.
I don't think there's going to be enough room. Old school now. Okay. All right.
Just a little.
I know.
Don't embarrass me.
I've seen the Buchanan Bearcats, now it makes sense.
Am I driving it out? Drive it out. One last straw.
Guys, we gotta clear this.
I want to try and catch it. I caught a ball one year.
Yeah, I remember we did that. All right, now we just got a council meeting. Don't know how to follow that, everybody.
All right.
All right, everybody, thanks for hanging on, and we're going to jump right into our agenda. Welcome to the 1993rd regular meeting of the Livonia City Council. This is a voting meeting, and minutes of this meeting will be approved at the next regular meeting scheduled to be held on Monday, June 3rd, if you could believe that. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Morgan.
Here.
Councilmember Toy.
Here.
Councilmember Jolly.
Present.
Vice President Tashnik.
Here.
Councilmember Donovic.
Here.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Here.
President McCullough.
Here. We show everybody here. I'm now going to entertain a motion for the minutes from the regular meeting of City Council held on May 6th.
So moved.
Second.
I have motion by Donovic, support by Budzinski. Any comments from the audience on the minutes? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
And President McCullough.
Aye, and the minutes are approved. We are going to jump right into audience communication. The council has set aside 30 minutes for audience communication for items that are not on the agenda. We have audience comments for items, again, that are not on the agenda. Make your way up to the podium. You got 3 minutes, name and address for the record.
Thank you, President McCullough. Steve Johnson at 18240 Sunset. I had the pleasure of attending Council Member Budzinski's coffee hour last week, and I was really impressed by her depth of knowledge as well as their special guest, Councilmember Donovic, as they made a presentation about the new Senior Wellness Center. I encourage all Livonia residents to join in Councilmember Brzezinski's monthly meetings and hope to see other council members join discussions in the future. I want to confess to her that I took an extra cookie on the way out, and I publicly apologize to you now. I feel there's an epidemic in this city of Livonia of loose dogs. Daily, we see posts on Facebook pages like All Things Livonia of dogs spotted loose, or we see dog owners letting their dogs run loose in the parks or school properties without regard to the safety of residents or other leashed dogs. I've yet to see animal control or the police issue any citations, and had one officer tell me they can only issue warnings. Another told me it's up to the officer's discretion. In a previous meeting, Mr. Chris Martin spoke of my tenacity in getting the leash ordinance amended. I realized all that work means nothing if there's no enforcement. A number of years ago, a Livonia resident lost his life when attacked by 2 dogs. Yesterday, a man in Farmington lost his life, and a 1-year-old baby is in critical condition after being mauled in Wixom last week. I call on the mayor, the chief of police, and the council to make Livonia safe and start issuing tickets. This is the only way that we're going to stem this problem that we've had. I don't see it in other cities like I see it here, and I think we have the tools to go to work and do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Good evening. Name and record. Our name and address for the record.
Deb Christensen, Livonia. So today is May 20th, as many of you know. So what that means is in less than 2 weeks, it's Pride Month. And I want to encourage all of the members of council to attend the city's second annual Pride event happening, I think, on June 16th. And the question that I really want to ask is, what do we infer from your lack of attendance there? See you there.
Thank you. Mr. Martin, good evening.
Got kind of caught off guard there. That was a little quicker than I thought. Christopher Martin, and once again, a resident of the great state of Michigan. Before I start, I wasn't here last council meeting, but I did view it, and Martha did a good job. For her first time, I thought that was really exceptional from what I've seen in the past. Others at their first time. So that was good. As far as the clock, somehow it's at the Planning Commission. It has grown legs, and it has left this area up here, gone to the Planning Commission, and it's sitting next to Sam Caramagno. I'd like that to come back. It's nice to stand here and watch your time, how much you have left. As far as the dogs, okay, people don't, if you say, hey, put your dog on a leash, they get mad. They swear at you. I have yet to have anyone say, hey, you know, you're right. I'm an adult, I should do that. Never. Never. One last thing about dogs. I'm at the library. I'm there a lot. 2nd floor. 4th time, possibly the 5th. Woman comes in with her dog, gets a chair, sets the dog on a chair, using one of the computers. I asked one of the library employees, what's the deal with this? Yeah. So that's the 4th or 5th time I've seen her pull this stunt. We've been told not to interfere. Now, if that's true, the actual truth, and I have no reason to call that individual a liar who works for the library. She seems to be quite honest. I'd have a serious talk with the library director if I was the mayor, okay? Because that library director is useless if she's telling people to just ignore that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Anything else? Oh, right here, Jim, sir.
Yes, good evening. I'm John Stemmick at 11035 Berwick, and I'm here tonight to request support from council to follow up with Jerome and the ordinance department on the demolition of the property next door to my home, which is 11033 Berwick. About a year ago, it was voted on to demolish that property along with the property on 7 Mile, which has fortunately since been demolished from that meeting in the summer. But that's not the case for the property next to my home, 11033 Berwick. My understanding is there's some additional steps perhaps that need to be taken because it's maybe in a more densely packed residential area, maybe some steps revolving remediation and potentially making sure that there aren't any hazardous materials that go airborne and are a safety issue. But it's been a year, and we were told that it was open for bid to be demolished, but my wife and I checked the site and we have not seen that, so I'm not sure where the help is that's needed, but if council could follow up, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from the audience? Seeing none, I'm going to move on to council announcements. Councilman Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. One, I'm going to address that resident, and two, I've got an announcement. I know Council President McCullough has been following up with that situation. Actually, of late, there's been some email correspondence that Council McCullough has been leading the charge on that. And I'm not going to speak for the ordinance director, but I know he's been working hard on it. It's very frustrating. I wish it would have been taken down after that subsequent meeting about a year ago that you referenced, but unfortunately, there are some things outside of the city's control that they have to deal with. I'm not going to get into all the nitty-gritty details right now, but I know we can talk offline or Councilman McCullough can fill you in. But there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and Councilman McCullough has been working on it, and the ordinance director, Jerome Hand, has been working on it, and hopefully soon it will be removed, but I would be lying if I gave you a very direct timeline. And then also on May 9th, the Livonia Police Department celebrated its 10th annual memorial ceremony at Knee Hazel Park, and that is a celebration of life, or a memorial service rather, for the 4 officers that have passed away in the line of duty for the Livonia Police Department. Chief Goralski and his team do an amazing job paying their respects to the fallen officers, their families, and they take it a step forward and acknowledge officers that have passed away in the line of duty in the state of Michigan. So it's always a really amazing memorial service. Of course, it's sad, but it's nice to see those families and see what a class act our Livonia Police Department is. I know a number of council members of the past. Councilwoman Kathleen McIntyre was a big part of making Knee Hazel Park a reality. Councilman Kritzman, a list of people, DPW and former mayors have really put a lot of time and energy into Knee Hazel Park, and it's nice to see that 10 years later, it's still such a big part of our community and our city. So I'd like to thank all the members of council and the staff for continuing to make this a priority in our city. Thank you, Mr. McCullough.
Thank you, Councilman Donovan. Vice President?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Martin, first of all, thank you for your kind words. It's always a little hair-raising when you have to take the gavel for the first time, but it came out okay. I also wanted to address the house on Berwick. I've been actively following this as well. Coincidentally, my mother's house backs up to that house, so I've had an active. She lives on Ingram right there, so we've been watching this. And as Mr. Donovan said, yeah, we're all over it. We're doing it the best we can on it. It's just sometimes the wheels do not move as fast as we would certainly like them to. I actually wanted changing note here though. I wanted to congratulate our Citizens Police Academy graduates. Councilman Donovan and I were at the graduation on May 7th. The Livonia Police Department does a fantastic job with this outreach and this program. And anyone in the audience, if you ever get the chance to actually go through this, it is a great 10-week program, and you get to see everything that our LPD does, ride-alongs, the simulators, the gun range, the whole thing. And it's amazing. And we were happy to be guests of the chief, and the mayor joined us as well, and it was a really great night. And then, one last thing, I'm going to follow up on that library issue with the dog. I'm curious to see if it would be a service dog or an anxiety dog or what's going on there. So we'll follow up and we'll see what's going on with that. So, but thank you.
Councilwoman Budzinski.
Yes. Hopefully that works. Just thank you for your attendance and kind words about the coffee hour that I held on May 18th, I think. Councilman Donovic attended as a senior council member to help share information about the process for the new senior center and updates to the rec center. We'll be continuing that conversation at my next coffee hour on Saturday, June 8th at the library at 11 o'clock. Everyone is welcome to attend. Superintendent of Parks and Recreation, Ted Davis, will be in attendance to answer any questions about that project. We'll also have Nicholas Picard from Wilson Barn attending to talk about all the great things they have going on at the barn this summer and fall. So please come and attend. We have cookies.
But you can only take one.
You can have as many as you want. Otherwise, my kids want them, and I don't want them to have it.
Let's make sure we keep Mr. Johnson in check a little bit. Is that all? All right, so I have from our fine folks at Parks and Rec, they have sent me with this. So believe it or not, Memorial Day is coming up this week. And we will have, the city of Livonia invites everybody to meet up at the Farmington and 5 Mile for the annual 9 a.m. Memorial Day ceremony. If you haven't attended, it's a great time. 9 a.m. It pays homage to our veterans. It's what makes our community great, honestly, that type of ceremony that we do year in and year out. Parks and Rec does a good job. This year we'll have the Livonia Civic Chorus, as in years past, and we'll also have the Livonia Franklin High School Band. Go Pats, right? I'm just waiting for my other colleagues to bring up some other high schools.
Go Chargers.
It fell down bad on that one.
Go
So-
Bulldogs.
Carry the shield.
So if you're looking for something Sunday, please add that to your calendar. The second thing I have, Mr. Martin, we do have a clock. So I just got to roll it out. We're in beta testing mode, so know that that's coming back.
It's like Christmas.
Yes. And then our friends on Berwick, I wish we were seeing you on different terms. I'll echo it. A lot of things are happening. We'll get back with you with some analytics and dates on the next steps. It's good to see you, just not on these circumstances, but it has been moved up and escalated, so we'll get you some definitive information. Thank you. Anything further from council? Seeing none, we're going to move right into our reports from the mayor and other city officials. We do have communication from the Department of Parks and Rec dated April 16th, 2024. We also, that's a receive and file. We have item B, which is communication from the Department of Finance dated May 1st. This is also a receive and file. From there, we're going to move on to the consent agenda, which is items 1 through 14 on the consent agenda that will be voted on as one item. These were items previously discussed at the study meeting that took place on May 6th and determined to be non-controversial. Do I have a motion, council?
So moved.
Second.
I have motion from Tashnik, support from Jolly. Do I have any audience communication in regards to the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'm going to ask our clerk to take the vote.
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski. And President McCullough.
Aye. And the consent agenda passes 7-0. Next up, unfinished business. This is meetings of the committee. The first item is, and I apologize, this was on our committee of a whole meeting on April 3rd. The reason I pushed it a little bit further is because I was letting our vice president, I didn't want to overload the agenda because I think we had 20 plus items, as you can see here. So I saved it for this because there was going to be some discussion. And so basically these were held on Monday, April 3rd. They were held in these chambers. The council members that were present were myself, vice president, Councilwoman Budzinski, Councilman Donovic, Councilman Jolly, and Councilman Morgan. Councilwoman Toy was absent. We did have Mr. Fisher and Mr. Tormina from our staff in attendance as well. And I'm going to jump into the first item, which was the subject matter of raising residential chickens within the city. The meeting commenced at 7:01. Council President introduced the item. Councilwoman Budzinski gave background on the subject matter. She provided examples of communities that have a similar ordinance in place. We had several residents speak on behalf of this subject matter. We also had in attendance our ordinance officer, Michael Johnson. He gave a background on the complaints regarding chickens and animal control, provided examples of RUF, and then what the proposed would be for the neighborhood residential codes. The committee right now, we had some recommendations that this will remain in committee. We also had a motion from Councilman Donovic for administration to craft a formal procedure for chickens in the RUF. And we also had a motion from Councilman Jolly for admin to research and provide a report and recommendation for best practices. This item will remain in committee, and right now I'm going to open it up to my council colleagues to see if they want to take those motions. Oh, you got to press your button.
Mr. President.
Councilman Donovic.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate it. I'd like to formally offer that motion to refer to the Law Department to either amend and or draft our existing chicken ordinance or solidify an ordinance, rather. I don't know if we currently have one or not.
Yeah, right now, the motion that I had for the meeting, if you're amicable to it, is for administration to craft a formal procedure for chickens in the RUF.
I'm eyeing our parliamentarian right now.
For reason of discussion, I'll offer a second, and then can I have the floor?
Yes.
So I think what we reviewed in the committee meeting, the ordinance as it is on point. I believe that you were wishing to seek out a procedure specifically for those people who own chickens currently in the RUF. What I would say is mine is not much different, but like maybe a larger scope, if we could possibly do them both and request one report from the administration in regards to that. But I don't know that we discussed amending the ordinance at all.
No. And this was from April 3rd, so I apologize if it wasn't the fresh on everything. So would you be amicable to withdraw your motion, and then we'll open the floor back up?
Mr. President, I'd like to withdraw my original motion.
Thank you, Councilman Donovic. Councilman Jolly?
Thank you, Mr. President. So at this time, I would offer a motion that would incorporate Mr. Donovic's wishes at the committee meeting as well as mine, that the administration produce a formal report to the council in regards to the best practices for people who own chickens in the rural urban farming zoning areas that are currently allowed, and that they also provide research and a report and recommendation in regards to best practices for owning chickens within Livonia at large.
Second.
With support. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Councilwoman Toy.
So what we're saying here is not only an RUF, but anyone at large. So anyone that has a 60 by 120 lot or a 70 by 120 lot could also perhaps raise chickens or have chickens. Am I not clear on this?
That's
Yes.
That's not the intention. The intention is there was some information that was provided and cited, but not formally provided to us as a council in regards to what the best practices, as indicated by the state, might be in regards to what would be the best scenario to own chickens in an urban area such as Livonia. At the committee meeting, there were things alluded to saying that the smaller lots, like you say, that would run afoul of the best practices provided by the state.
He did not.
But we have.
He did that.
You did that.
Yes.
I did. Yeah. So that's not correct. We actually just to understand the scope so that we could accurately provide it back to residents who are interested in doing such.
That's why I wanted to be clear on it, so it's clear to the viewing audience as well, and all of us, or most of us, or some of us.
Yes.
Thank you.
At least 4 of us.
At least 4 of us, yes.
Anything else from council before I go to the audience? If there's any audience communication on this going to the vote, speak now. Seeing none, I'm going to move to the Madam Clerk to take the vote.
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
And President McCullough.
Aye. And the motion carries 7-0. I'm now going to move on to the second item, which is item B, the subject matter of the Noble Library and Sheldon Park issues. I'm going to ask that if you do want to speak on for audience communication, to make your way up to either side of the podium. As I'm jumping into this item, we'll give a little background on it, and then I'm going to go to council and then to the audience. Yes, and you'll have 2 minutes for this topic. Again, this was on, was it May 6th? Yes.
No.
No. No, April 3rd.
April 3rd.
April 3rd, wow. So this is the subject, as the CR 116-24, the subject matter of the Noble Library and Sheldon Parks issues. I introduced the item and provided background. Councilman Jolly explained that funding is limited, but acknowledged more needs to be done. While he was on the record, he states that he will not be supporting selling the property. Councilwoman Toy stated that she's happy to get the conversation moving. Councilwoman Budzinski also stated she's happy to start the dialogue. Most of council basically said they're good with starting the conversation and taking it from here. Several residents spoke on behalf of the subject matter, and we had 45 residents in the audience speaking on the item. From that, there were 3 recommendations from council. First being, Councilman Jolly requested that the next committee meeting be held on site at Noble. Number 2, Councilwoman Budzinski requested that requested from admin a formal building inspection with specific construction estimates and testing results. And Councilman Jolly did request that administration keep up the property in a proper upkeep to prevent further damage. I'm going to open the floor to council on these items. Council, do I have any direction?
Mr. President,
Councilman Jolly.
I would offer a resolution to ensure that the city properly maintains the property as it currently exists in regards to, at a minimum, the outdoor landscaping. We heard from, well, I need a
Support.
second. There you go. So we heard some, and I think some of us have seen some troubling things in regards to residents stepping outside of the bounds and the expectations of residents in normal situations to care for city-owned property. Our previous city attorney, Paul Bernier, almost fell out of his chair when he heard that people had been going on the roof to clean the gutters and things of that nature. And I think it's an absolute priority for the residents who have to see this building, the residents who have a specific interest in this building, and also from any resident's perspective, to avoid a legal liability that might come from people doing things that they should not be doing under normal circumstances. So I would offer that, that we go on record and state that we should be caring for this property as best as possible.
Sounds good.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Councilman Toy.
Just going down Plymouth Road, because I often visit Plymouth Road, there was one of the city workers out there mowing the lawn and doing some trimming and things, so it was evident in 80, 90 degree weather, however hot it was today, which we're looking at that and keeping up on it, it looks like. At least it was, in view today. I don't know how it's been, if others have experienced other things, but it looked good.
Yeah, and I'll just say, we are working off of the things being reported to us in regards to things that were done on the site.
Right.
Our jobs are supervisory in regards to certain functions of the city process, but it's not our purview per se to direct anything that's specifically going on property.
And with this, since we do have 3 items, would it be amicable to go to the audience and then come back for the motions, or should we have a vote on this one right away?
I think any motion that you have to go to the audience for that specific motion.
All right, so I'm going to be going to the audience for the specific motion of maintaining the current property. If you do not want to speak on that, it's more in general, we're going to go to a vote on that, and we'll go to the next item. Anything else from council? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote on the upkeep item?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye, the motion carries 7-0. If the audience is okay, I'm just going to go through the next item, see if we can get these, and then I'll open it up to the floor. The next item, well, it's open to council. If one of the council members would like to make a motion. Councilwoman Budzinski?
Yes. Sorry, my Anyways, I would like to make a motion that we ask the administration to provide a report on the building facility condition testing for any environmental hazards or problems with the building, and a renewed cost estimate for rehabbing the building, or simply even preserving it and protecting it from those environmental hazards while we determine a long-term plan.
Thank
Support.
you. We have support. The floor is yours if you have anything else.
I just reaffirming what we talked about during that meeting, that I think that this building has value in our community. I think that residents have made it clear that this building in particular matters, that the uniqueness, its architecture, its history is important, and creating, demolishing it to create something new takes away from some of that value. I think we need resources on the south side. We talk a lot about bike and walkability here in Livonia, but we already know that there is a divide between the south side of town and the city center, which is the industrial zone and the freeways, and we cannot overcome those barriers. So it's really important that we provide city services that people can bike and walk to on the south side of town. At least those are things that are important to me, so I hope we can continue to find a way forward that works best for our community.
Thank you. Councilman Donovan?
Thank you, Mr. President. I will not be in support of the motion. The city has rehashed this item over and over again, and no fault to individual council members. I mean, I think the council has been very adamant, and we need to do something with this building. As most people in the audience know, I am very supportive of tearing it down and redoing something with this property. Council President McCullough and I, we disagree on the item, but we've constantly pushed the administration to take some sort of action, because inaction continues to lead to this, where we just continue to kick this bucket down the road. We've already had reports. We already know the numbers of what it takes to either rehab this building, and the fact that we have over $100 million, in deferred maintenance across all of our buildings in the city. Excuse me, not all of them, but the critical infrastructure in this community: City Hall, Police Department, Fire Departments, other libraries. Prior to 2019, when this building was closed, it was open barely 3 days a week. Why? Because there were not enough residents that were utilizing the building. I go to our main library, the Civic Center Library, and thank God for the hardworking staff in that building, but they're working with a building that is still stuck in the 90s. We are going to the 2020s, 30s, and we have a building that's still stuck 40, 50 years in the past, because we are spread so thin with 3 libraries and 36 square miles. There are not communities the size of ours that have multiple libraries. Maybe in a perfect world, if we didn't have over $100 million in deferred maintenance in critical buildings, our headquarters, our City Hall, police department's falling apart, it's an old water department. The list goes on of critical infrastructure needs. And the fact is we as taxpayers only can afford so much. Later on this evening, we're going to be discussing an item to raise your taxes, on top of everything else that is getting more expensive in this country. And we're going to talk about spending more dollars on a library that was barely opened when it was opened. I, in good conscience, cannot vote to support that. Now, there's a lot of discussion and a lot of passion and a lot of really good points in this item, and I understand them. But this is going to continue to happen unless the administration finally decides to do something. Put it up for a vote. We're either going to keep it or we're going to demo it. Let the chips fall where they may fall, but at least let's take action on this item, because it is very important, because I understand the residents' frustration. They're looking at a building that's just sitting there, and we just passed the motion to take care of it. We're passing motions now to do the bare minimum, our jobs as city stewards to take care of buildings. I mean, where does it end? It's our job to take care of buildings, and I appreciate my council colleagues just trying to upkeep our basic buildings. But at this point, we're just kicking the can down the road because we don't want to take a politically difficult vote. It's time for the administration to do their job. We have all these really smart people in this city. Do something. Come up with the numbers. We already know what they are. Let's put it up for a vote. Either demo the building or let's invest $10 million into it, because that's what it's going to take to bring that building up to current market standards, current code standards, and we don't, quite frankly, have that money. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Donovan. I'm going to go to Vice President and then to Councilwoman Toy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, we've got to talk about some good and responsible governance here. I am sympathetic about the plight of Noble, but I do think we need some transparent facts and figures here. And I'm not sure that we have them to make an informed and responsible decision. You know, it's a travesty that we're here at this point. It's a complete travesty, but we can't look back at decisions that have been made. And it's time for us to make a decision one way or another. To me, this is not a North versus the South issue that some people are trying to make it. It's just bad luck that it happens to be Noble. It could have been Sandburg, to be perfectly honest. So it just happens to be down there. So I think it's time for us to get the facts and figures. We need some transparent answers, and it's time to make a decision. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilman Toy?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Maybe this is part of the problem that is long overdue on a lot of our city buildings. And I give the mayor and others credit for at least stepping up to the plate and saying, we got to look at these buildings that are in this community, even though it's, as Councilman, as Rob pointed out, it's going to take a lot of money. And so what I worry about is the sustainability of the building once we save it. If we save it, that's up to this council, it's up to the mayor. So I think there's a lot of room right now, as we've been asked to pause on this, and yet we're looking at it again tonight, and that's fine, because like I said, I want to hear the conversation. I really think that when residents come out and do the kinds of things they've done in regards to looking at their surrounding community, what they see in their quality of life, and what they expect this city, I commend them for that. But we have a lot of buildings that are long overdue for repair. I've been on this council off and on. We were supposed to have a facilities manager, and I don't know whatever happened to that. I think one of the gentlemen that has just left the city was supposed to be responsible for that, from what I understood as I investigated it. So, you know, I've been on that road for 40-some years now, and that is a little jewel area in that area. We fixed it up. You got Jimmy John's, you got Lee's Chicken. I mean, those little eateries are doing fabulous, and there's a lot more that can be done in that area of town. So, you know, that remains yet to be seen. Your commitment is to be commended, that you've been out there, that you've done things. My goodness. You know, when people come out like that, I mean, we pay attention, obviously. You got our attention, and just by the sheer fact we're having other meetings, other discussions, I don't think anything goes to waste. I think conversation, communication is part of what we do as elected officials. And when that stops, that's a sad day. So thank you, Mr. Chair. I look forward to the conversation tonight, but let's make it new information if we could, because we got a long agenda ahead of us.
We do. Thank you, Councilwoman Toy. I'm going to pass the gavel in just a quick moment, but I wanted to touch base just on one of the items that Councilman Jolly did bring up is having the next committee meeting on site. We don't need a formal vote on that because the council president can just pick the location. And so the the meeting will be at that site. So with that, I am going to pass the gavel. Madam Chair, may I have the floor?
Mr. McCullough.
All right, so listen, it is feeling like a broken record. We keep popping it up, and we have a lot of committed people. I'll just tell you, you know, and I bring it up, but I'm going to say more along the item is, this is my day job. I do this for a living, and I can tell you that when we originally got the report from Plant Moran and OHM, it was very high level. It was very high level that said, hey, the building's just bad. And no analytics were about it. That's why you'll hear me say it 1,000 times. Until I have the actual report from an engineer that stamps it or provides analytics that are on the amount of asbestos, amount of mold in the building, I'm not going to trust anything. And I think that this item that's before us takes that step. It gives us our due diligence to see what's wrong with the building to make an educated decision. At the same time, we've got Vision 21. You're going to hear about the city's hall campus. And, you know, I applaud the mayor for taking the step and talking about the master plan. The master plan talks about City Hall being replaced. This building, up until 2 weeks ago, didn't have air movement. If you guys remember being in here a few weeks ago or last year, it was 85 degrees. We got our air handler working. You drive by the library over by Bennett Library, you're going to see a temporary chiller that we're spending $250,000 in energy on. All right? So I could keep going through these, but I don't want to bore you. This city has over 100+ facilities. And one of my colleagues, Councilman Donovic, brought up the last time that I did speak about Noble, and he brought up, yeah, but we've got issues at City Hall, we got issues at police headquarters, we got issues at all the fire stations. Perfect point. It goes more and more that we need a formal, robust, 36 square mile capital plan. And while I appreciate 5 in Farmington and this building, listen, the residents deserve more. And I could sit here and I can point the finger down past, but I'm not going to do that. You guys elected us as leaders. And it's our job to take on these tough issues. Whether we do, and I do somewhat agree with some of my colleagues that, yeah, I'm sick of talking. I want to see something done. And if something out of this is going to get done, it's going to give us the blueprint to tell us if that building is savable. It's also, with another motion, is going to tell us that, hey, you have to maintain it. Because right now, you know, the flashing, any flashing that's missing, that building is going to lose life every single year. And for a lot of people that say you can't bring this building back, what's happening downtown Detroit in a couple weeks? You have the central train station that was brought back, all right, guys? So before we make decisions, all I ask council and administration is let's do our due diligence and find out all of the stuff. So I applaud all the noble warriors out here for coming out, and now I'm going to open it. We're going to do this vote. I'm going to open it up to the floor, or the Madam Chair will go to the vote. I'm sorry. But this is something that's super passionate. And just to kind of give a high overview, the South End, again, I lived in Clemens Circle. This was my library. But I can see a vision of something so cool in that spot. You know, you've got this building now, whether it's a library, maybe it's not, right? Maybe it's not. Some people want it to be a library. Like I said, I put my vision out there. I'd like to see almost like a city services satellite. Pay your taxes, pick up a recycling bin. You know, you could even maybe drop a voter's ballot off. You have these meeting spaces, and we have the Living and Learning Enrichment Center in Northville begging us for space. Wouldn't it be awesome you give them a $5 lease for a certain amount of time, and we have these nonprofits servicing our community at that building? Wouldn't it be awesome? I don't think Mr. Steve King's here, but if he's not, what a time would that be to do a LEED Platinum building on that and take all the grants that are out there? The money's there. We all know that. The problem is right now, council is limited on what they can do because we can assign the funds. We can stop the funds, but initiating what happens stays with the administration. And I want to make that clear and on the record. As long as I'm here, I'm going to fight for it, guys. I'm with you, and I don't want to see it go. But the biggest thing right now is making sure we can do our due diligence, get the inspection reports, and make sure we stop the bleeding on that building. And then we can look further for things. That's all I have to say, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Council, any other comments?
I think we technically have to go to the audience.
No,
If they want to
guys.
speak on the vote
Okay.
this way, just make sure that they
Do you have
understand.
that motion?
Yes, so the motion is...
Thank you. All right, we'll now go to the audience on the motion that's before us, requesting from administration for a formal building inspection with specific construction estimates and testing results. Just name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Leslie Lynch Wilson. I'm a Lincoln Park resident. So since early this year, I've been working on a National Register of Historic Places nomination on Noble as part of an online historic preservation methodology and documentation class through Bucks County Community College in Newtown, Pennsylvania, with the intention of submitting it to the Michigan Historic Preservation Office. After hearing about Noble in the Save Alfred Noble Facebook group, I selected Noble over a Lincoln Park property because Noble, as a Gunnar Burgert's designed building, is a unique and intact example of mid-century modernism. Now, my connection to Livonia is that my mother, Marion Lynch, was an urban planner here in this building for the planning department in the early 70s to early 90s, and she also worked on Livonia's early preservation efforts with Sue Daniel, as my mom was also an architect. Noble maintains the distinct characteristics of mid-century modernism style with dramatic expressive shapes such as triangular geometry, materials such as innovative use of glass, metal, and steel, as well as clear-story windows that diffuse light. Your residents deserve to have this building saved. There is community support as well as grants available. Why not give it a chance? My class ended 2 weeks ago. I submitted my nomination to the SHPO on Friday. I know that changes will be needed on the nomination as I have written 2 National Register nominations in the past that were approved by the SHPO and the National Park Service that took several edits before finally making it to the State Historic Preservation Review Board. Historic preservation isn't just about beautiful architecture, history, and context. It's also about economic development. With an architecture and design background and interior architecture degree from Lawrence Tech, I have been involved in Lincoln Park's historic preservation efforts for 20-plus years now. I'm also on the public
That's
policy.
time.
Nope.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
2 minutes, not 3?
2 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
Welcome.
Good- Hi. Good evening, council members. I'm Betsy Calhoun, 33023 Grenada. I have it personally from a known civically minded local architect that if the Alfred Noble Library was mothballed for the time being by removing the soft mold food, carpet, ceiling tiles, etc., that if it were ultimately demolished, the total cost would only increase by 10%. So the question is, why would a municipality thoughtlessly destroy potential like this? Once this historic architectural gem is gone, it's just another soulless piece of real estate with no plans for any community-friendly alternative on the site. Our residents need and deserve leadership with enough vision to see into the future, even if it's agreed that something is not immediately practicable. I understand that there's currently no time or budget for Noble renovation, as there's a new senior center and city center in the hopper. So an appropriate mothballing operation would retain a historically significant resource for future visioning. It would be so short-sighted to take the irreversible step of destroying such an amazing prospect. To my knowledge, no city administration has ever explored the National Trust's Main Street program, a long-established framework which supports older business corridors such as we have on Plymouth Road. Removal of a community landmark such as the Burkert's-designed library would doubtless significantly impact or negate that opportunity for support through place-based economic development. It is certainly common to use facts and figures that support a teller's narrative. It's been cited X amount to demo versus rehab, but where are the 3 bids for that? Opinions like this vary wildly depending on the viewpoint of the assessor. Has anyone ever had an old building appraised? I have, and it varied from the tear-down mentality of one realtor to an appreciation of the farmhouse's original elements. And I sold the home to a young couple who likes the long-running This Old House TV series. They made it shine again. It also doesn't, excuse me, take much imagination to realize that properly done, the interior of the library could be stripped of extraneous components while retaining important historical elements and be used that way as an industrial-looking space in the same way Detroit's Michigan Central
That's
Station
time.
was used for events before its recent restoration.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hello, Jeff Dutka, former Livonia resident and member of the Save Alfred Noble nonprofit. Want to start by thanking council and the city officials here today, especially those bringing forth these proposals. That we think that this is exciting to us because this is the potential for some positive movement forward. And since the campaign has come and gone, our phone calls aren't getting picked up as quick from City Hall. So it's a very encouraging thing to see our elected officials take the lead on this. All that we are asking for, as the previous speaker had mentioned, was let's preserve the building, right? Like, let's stop the bleeding. It's been 4 years, as far as I know, since a report from OHM has come out. I can't possibly imagine that things have improved since 2020. And I think it's the elephant in the room that if there are certain repairs that aren't taking place, it seems very convenient that flashing is not being replaced or that there are bushes and trees growing out of the gutters. We at no point went out to the community and said, you need to pull out your ladders and fix up Alfred Noble. I mean, there are people that live in that area that said, enough is enough. If they're not going to come and clean out the drains where the water goes and it's just going to sit there and pool and run into the building, we're going to come and do it ourselves. So the fact that that community is stepping up to do that, I think, speaks volumes for giving our elected leaders the support that they need to move forward and be creative. Because without a partner in City Hall, we're not getting anywhere fast. And we've got support at the state level, the federal level, the county level. We've talked to many people that would love to help out. but they know that City Hall wants nothing to do with this property, and that if it doesn't have anything to do with 5 in Farmington, that the mayor's not going to consider it. So we just hope that through these efforts, it brings some more folks to the table, and that we can have an
That's
honest
time.
conversation about what what could be accomplished at this site. So
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening.
Hi, I'm Lauren Orsessian, and I'm the president of Alfred Nobel Library. And, I came up here, unlike Jeff, he had notes. And, I think what is going on is we have so many roadblocks with our group. Like there are grants out there that we can write for, but the mayor will not approve it. So I don't know if council can help us out with this, but our roadblocks are at the head of the management. And our respect for her, she was like all for us, she won the election, and now she's back into demo. And okay, where do we go from here? There are so many cool places like that will give us grants that we could raise money for inspections. We could raise money for just going in and refurbishing the place. There are so many things out there that we can do, but we need your support along with the mayor's, because we don't own the building. We've been flat out told we can't get resources because we don't own it. And we need her approval, or we need someone else's approval. I really know, Brandon. Maybe it's your approval, I know. But everyone, just to let you know, Brandon, I love you. You're like our greatest supporter. He really is. And there's other people on the council as well, and so many other people out here. But I taught in Livonia for 34 years, so I've basically been associated with this for 40. Do the math. I'm a senior citizen now.
No.
So, but going back, it almost looks exactly the same as it did 40 years ago. There's no cultural center. There's no art center. Everyone is like piecemealing it to get something. And how I got involved in this was writing a letter to the mayor saying, hey, I think we need to just repurpose it. Turn it into a really cool building and forget the north and south. Just say, we need a cultural center, something like,
That's time.
that's it.
Thank you.
I was just getting on a roll. Thanks.
Good evening.
Jimmy Crawley, lived in Livonia prior 50-plus years, and I have no numbers or anything like that, but I just have a vision for the next child that's going to walk. Like a month ago, my buddy Eric, we were watching old videos, and I said, oh my God, there we are. We're walking from old Rosedale to Alfred Nobel Library to get a book when you're a little kid, And I would love to have the vision for the next child to come down and, with their class, walking down the side street of Loveland and going into the library or a nice community center or something like that. And I just want that. And when I found out when Alfred Nobel Library was having problems and stuff, then I saw on Facebook, and I said, I'm going to be a part of that. And the community came together. I met a new friend, he was just, trimming the bushes. And I said, well, I got an edger, I can start edging. And the community, again, came together to want to save the building. And we loved the library. And I can remember the days when I had to have all my dimes when I walked up there, because of the copy machine, you got to have dimes for it. And it's just the feeling of going there, opening a book, reading the stories and adventures. I mean, I want to save the library.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Cindy Fleming, Woodring Street, straight down from Alfred Nobel Library. I would really like council to please consider these motions and vote in favor of them to help restore the trust that is lacking with Southside residents. We would like some transparency, and we would like to know the real story. And I am going to finish Leslie Lynch Wilson's comments for her. Leslie, with an architecture and design background and interior architecture degree from Lawrence Tech, she has been involved in Lincoln Park's historic preservation efforts for 20-plus years now. She's on the Public Policy Committee for the Michigan Historic Preservation Network. She chairs the Design and Physical Improvement Committee for Lincoln Park's DDA. As of February, she also chairs Lincoln Park's DDA as well. She's a big advocate for collaboration. She sees many synergies available by the city of Livonia collaborating with Noble supporters, my SHPO, and many others to meet the building financial needs and programming needs. And I will add the needs of our community and restoration of the culture of the south side of Livonia.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi again, Deb Christensen, West Chicago Street, Livonia. I mean, it's no surprise, I've been up here many times. I have a shirt on, clearly, in favor of saving Noble. What I'm here to just humbly to ask all council members is to, we're begging you to get your support to save this building, whether it's a library or otherwise. It is part of the original downtown of Livonia. It is iconic. It is a historical site. It seems like the city, maybe the mayor, wants to erase things that have been here for something new and shiny. And I know that the corridor of 5 Mile and Farmington Road is really what's being talked about now, but there are some gems in Livonia. And what I'm concerned about, too, is if we take away Noble, what's going to happen to Sandburg? I mean, that's an older building, too. There was money just put into that. So we understand the plight of the city with regard to the finances and with the buildings. And so I just, it makes me wonder as a resident, which I would vote in favor of, surprisingly, but when are we going to raise our taxes? Because we as citizens, we deserve to have some things in our community that that other communities have that we don't. Please consider voting in favor to help our cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Martin.
Well, thank you. It's nice to see all of you again. Christopher Martin in the great state of Michigan. It was almost 20 years ago. The question was raised at that particular time for people that were running for city council, and I happen to be one of them. Should we have 3 libraries or 1 good library? This is 20 years ago. Should have 1 good library. We still don't have a good library, okay? We have 8 computers. Slow. It's like watching paint dry compared to other libraries. Go to Redford. Go to Farmington Community Library. They're on the south side of 12 Mile. It's an embarrassment what we have over here. But when you take money and you divide it by 3, you have 3 mediocre libraries when they were in existence instead of 1 decent one. As far as why the libraries are in the condition that they have, you're not going to like this, some of you, especially out in TV land. We had an incompetent person in charge of the libraries, period. She might have been a very nice person. Totally incompetent. Totally. That's why it's like it is. I don't want necessarily my tax dollar being spent to save that. It wasn't utilized, just like Sandburg is not utilized 5 days or 7 days or whatever, okay? It's just not. And so anyway, at some point in time, other communities don't have 3 libraries. They don't have 2 libraries. They strive to have 1 decent library, and that's the issue. Do we want 1 decent library, or do we want to divide the money into 3? That's the issue. So anyway, I'm in favor of the 1 good library. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Chair.
Hold on.
I think you have one
We've got one
person
more.
coming
Hold
in.
on, Ms. Toy.
Yeah, I didn't see him.
Good evening. Name and address, please.
Adam Kempa, 11405 Berwick, Old Rosedale Gardens. I just would like to see some green space stay in the southern part of Livonia. Of the 60 parks that are in Livonia proper, only 14 are south of the Jeffreys. Of those 14, 4 of them are pocket parks that put together don't even make up a city block. Of the space and green space that's available in the city limits, 96% of it is north of the Jeffries. That's park space. So preserve the green space at least. And a little kiddie library wouldn't hurt. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
I wasn't going to say anything today, but I decided to come down. My name is Barbara Glover, 33288 Myrna Court. I live on the north side, but I do feel like the south side, like the last person was saying, doesn't have a lot of green space. I think that when we look at this area for where Noble is, we also have to look at the park as well, and we have to think about preserving the park and the library. The library, if you don't want it to be a library anymore, then make it into a cultural center, make it into an art center or a meeting space or something. Just to demolish a historical building, it seems to be a big waste to me. I'm a big believer in historical preservation. I'm part of the Livonia Historical Society. I've always loved old buildings, and Livonia doesn't really have any old buildings. Like, why do you think people love going to Plymouth? Because they have a cute downtown. It's old. It's got history. We have very little of that in this city. We knocked it down, or it never was here. So I think that the few buildings that we have like that, let's preserve them. Let's make them into something. Let's be proud of what we have. Let's preserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Ms. Toy.
Okay, thanks. Nothing. I just want to give a shout out to Mrs. Lynch that spoke earlier. Her mother was just superb in this community, and she hats go off to her. I mean, she is one of the historians in Livonia, as I think she pointed out, Marion Lynch, and you should be very proud of your mom. She did a great job for our city. Thank you, and thank you for following in her footsteps. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, we do have a motion out there. There are no more comments. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Morgan?
No.
Councilmember Toy?
What was a motion? I'm sorry, I've lost track.
The motion was, here, I'll read it to you. The motion was for administration for a formal building inspection with specific construction estimates and testing results, such as
sure.
asbestos, et
Thank
cetera.
you. Aye.
Councilmember Jolly?
Aye.
President McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic?
No.
Councilmember Budzinski? Aye. Vice President Tashnik?
Aye. Motion passes 5-2.
So now you pass gavel.
Would you like it back? I'm just going to keep
it. Hey.
No, at this time, I'm going to pass the gavel back to President McCullough. I'm just
Listen,
messing
it's got its pros and cons for sure. All right, we are now going to move on to item number 16, which is from our unfinished business, is a block party from Ray Frangus to be held on Saturday, August 24th, 2024, from 1 p.m. till 10 p.m. on Brentwood Street between Jacqueline and Meadowlark Street, with a rain date of Sunday, August 25th, 2024. If I butchered your name, I apologize.
You hurt me.
I know.
I've been coming here for 21 years.
Listen, my bad on this. I
forgive you.
Mr. Chairman.
All that being said, Ray Francis is here.
Perfect.
I listened to those youngsters speak earlier.
Sir, really fast. I got to get a motion
And
so move.
I got motion
Support.
Floor is yours.
Okay.
Mr. Francis.
I was listening to those youngsters speak earlier, and it is inspiring to know that our city, our state, and our country is in hands like those. It moves me. And that being said, on to our block party. We just this is our 21st year, as I said, and this year we're applied for a grant, and so I'm here representing our city, our block, hoping to get a grant.
Well, right now we have an approving. We have support. Anybody want to say anything from council before I go and take the vote?
No, other than he's been here 8 million times.
And I
right?
messed his name, so I've
Yeah.
got to make up for that.
I can't even count that high.
Can I have a question? Thank you, Mr. President. So we are going to, I presume, approve of the block party. The application for the grant that you're seeking, that was initiated by council, the existence of that.
Mm-hmm.
But we did a very solid thing in regards to removing the awarding of those grants from the council because we didn't want to have any kind of appearance of any kind of political favoritism or anything like that. So there are people who work on a day-to-day basis within City Hall. One is present here. Two of them are present here actually right now. So I think they heard you, and you should be notified in the relative near future. I think the deadline's May 31st.
Excellent.
So,
Mr.
thank you.
Chair, Mr. Chair, I gotta give Councilman Jolly credit. He's the one that came up with this whole idea and implemented it and took it away from council, but that's okay. Credit where
Good
credit's
man, I
due.
always said that.
Well, somebody
He's a
should,
jelly
right?
guy.
I don't know what I'm talking about half the time, but I said it.
I appreciate it. So anyways, you should find out soon.
Okay,
Thank you for
excellent.
doing what you do.
We're all good then?
Well, Mr. Francis, I hope I get an invitation to this so I can make up for butchering your name.
Jim Rumroll lives down the street from me.
Okay.
If I
listen.
remember in the past, you've spoke of him, so.
I'll be there with apologies.
Okay, it's fine, it's all.
Any-
And
a hot
Thank you again.
Do we have any comments on the audience? If you want to heckle me for getting the name, if not, Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. You got a 7-0. Hopefully you don't need that rain date.
Thank you.
Have fun. Moving on to item number 17, which is a request for council approval on a proposed lot split. This comes to us from the Department of Assessment for the property located south of 8 Mile and east of Merriman Road, just north of Pembroke in the northwest quarter section of 2. And this is to waive the lot to depth ratio issue relative to parcel A. Council.
Mr. President,
Councilman Donovic.
I'll offer an approving.
Have support anywhere?
Support.
I've got motion by Donovic, support by Tashnik.
Mr. President.
Mr. Donovic.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is one of those weird state laws that says a lot cannot be 4 times the width of, or 4 times the length rather than the width. It's a funky state law that more or less applies to larger parcels in much more rural areas. This area, there are a lot of unique properties and lot widths in this area. It's still going to be very wide, very large piece of property. My hope is that it's developed, maybe cleaned up. I know there's been some issues with some debris and what have you over there, so hopefully this maybe motivates that to happen. But this is kind of a unique scenario, and it's I think it's okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Donovic. Council, do I have anything further before I go to the audience? We do have a motion.
I'd like to ask a question of the petitioner.
The floor is yours.
Good evening, sir.
Name and address, sir.
20301 Perling Brook.
And name?
Robert Tomanovich.
Okay, sir, are you the current owner of the combined property?
I am the owner of some of the property, yes.
What do you mean by some of it, sir?
Well, we're splitting it with, Uli here is with me. Christian, I'm sorry. We are doing the split on the property over there.
Okay. So do you plan yourself to retain parcel A or parcel B?
I'm Which one?
Smaller parcel.
Yeah.
So the gentleman in the back is retaining the smaller parcel, which is indicated as parcel B, is that correct? And then parcel A would be the larger, non-conforming piece of property, and you would be retaining that, sir?
Yes.
Okay, what are the plans for parcel A? Do you anticipate building a single-family home there or something of that nature?
Yeah, we're thinking about it. We're not sure exactly what we're doing with it yet, but it's up, you know. Don't know yet exactly what we're gonna do with it.
Okay, do you have anything else to offer by way of explanation why we should do this?
No.
Okay.
All right. Anything further from council? Seeing none, we do have a motion. Anything further from the audience? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
No.
Councilmember Jolly.
No.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
No.
And President McCullough.
Aye. And the motion carries, was it
4-3.
4-3? Your matter is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to item number 18, which is a roll call.
Did you go to the audience? Okay.
Yep. Sorry. No, you're fine.
Failed.
Roll call vote, proposed amendment to the Livonia zoning ordinance as amended from the Department of Law. Oh,
So the clerk's indicating that that required a supermajority of 5 votes.
Supermajority, no less than 5.
okay.
So tell him.
Sir,
So it did not pass.
it did not pass. This item did require supermajority, of which you did not get, so the matter is unfortunately
Failed.
denied.
I don't think I understood.
Yeah, lot splits are a supermajority, and you only had 4.
Yeah, well, it says supermajority.
Tomatovich?
Point of order question. I thought supermajority is only for lot splits, and this is just the waiving of the 4-to-1 ratio.
You're not on.
Am I correct with that, or no?
I will
Is the lot
probably,
split, or is just a 4-to-1 ratio, Mr. Termina?
I am going to refer that to the,
That's why.
here's the confusing part about that. The
Yeah, I thought it was only.
Section 13 or 1632 speaks to the 5-member majority vote required to waive any requirement of the zoning ordinance. There's a section under the, just below that, it talks about compliance with the state act, which is the 4-to-1 ratio requirement. And that indicates that council can waive that requirement without speaking about having to have a 5-member majority vote. So I think that's going to be a matter of interpretation. So as the vote stands, it's probably something that will have to be reviewed by our legal counsel to give you a final determination. Maybe not tonight, but at some later date.
That is something that I'd like to do a little more research on, but I will say that we do have a note here that a supermajority was required for this to pass.
okay. Well, if we have that, the petitioner is right there. If it is a supermajority, we are going to look into the matter. But if it falls under a supermajority, the item is denied.
Okay,
And if
so,
not, we will make sure that someone from our council office does, either from planning, get a hold of you for the clarification.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, moving on. Item number 18, which is roll call, proposed amendment to the Livonia zoning ordinance as amended from the Department of Law to amend section 6.26 of the Livonia zoning ordinance to provide no more than 2 gasoline service stations may be located within 500 feet of any intersection of 2 or more major thoroughfares, including boulevards, highways, streets, and city major roads as indicated on the future plan map of the Vision 21 Master Plan. First reading was given by Councilman Jolly on May 6th. Council, I have a direction? Mr. Jolly.
I'm going to defer to Mr. Donovic. This was his initiative.
Mr. President, I'd like to offer an approving.
A second read.
Second read, rather.
And with that?
We go to the audience and then vote.
Yes. Audience, do we have any communication on this roll call vote for second read? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
And President McCullough.
Aye. And the motion carries 7-0. We're going to move on to item number 19, which is a rezone petition. This comes to us from the Planning Commission. Petition 2024-01-01-01, submitted by SR&D Development, requesting to rezone the property at 18340 Middle Belt Road, located on the east side of Middle Belt between 6 Mile and Pickford Avenue, from RUF to C1 local business. We did have a public hearing held on April 22nd. Council, looking for a first read.
I'll offer support on a first read.
We have a first read. I'm going to go to the petitioner. Did you have any comments, or are you just up here for questions?
I thought I had to come up here, honestly.
Perfect, you're good. Council.
Yeah. Oh.
Mr. Termina?
Just clarification on the first reading, whether it applies to the entire property, or I think it's Resolution B, which is a portion.
Yes.
In full and part.
So a first read on what section?
That was on the front portion.
The front portion?
Yeah.
Which would be,
B, I think.
is that B or A? Let's make sure we've got this right.
Yep.
It would have been
So that's B?
Hang on a minute, I'm trying to locate it here. Stand by.
Ask Mark. Say it. Is it A, Mark? or
A or B.
This is B.
B. Oh, it's B.
Yeah. Resolution B would approve in part and refer to the law department to prepare the ordinance. So it's not a first read, it would be for preparation of the ordinance for
Okay.
first read.
So, Mr. Morgan, are you good with
Oh,
item
it's the
B?
front property? Yeah, it's not listed here, A or B. It just is.
So it's just, this is just a prepare the change.
Yeah.
And we do need a roll call vote on that, correct? Madam, anything formal from
We need support.
council? We do need support on that.
I'll support that.
Okay.
So I have Jolly support, motion from Morgan. Audience, do we have any communication regarding this? Sir, come on up. Name and address for the record in 2 minutes.
Yes. Nick Silicki, 18347 Groom Street. I won't belittle the inconvenience, as we spoke about that last time, what the construction would have, the noise, the dust. More so for the permanent removal of greenery from our neighborhood. I also do want to say a special thank you to Councilmember Buzinski, because you were the only one present during our last meeting who voiced any concern for the impact that this would have on us residents. 2 questions that I want to leave this council with. During the last meeting, the petitioning party, when responding to questions about potentially building a home for herself on the property, stated that she would not want to live in a parking lot. So why is it fair to assume that we, the residents, would want her business or her parking lot in our backyards? And secondly, we are willing to offer the opportunity to increase her property value as a potential at the certain decrease in our property value as part of this. I don't think there's anything else that I can say other than,
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir.
yes, thank you.
Chair, if I may, to that gentleman right
The
there.
floor is yours.
Sir,
Yes.
do you abut the property?
The
this
yes. So
proposal?
essentially, what would end up happening is more than 80% of my backyard would be right against parking lot or whatever the petitioning party plans on building back there.
Gotcha.
And this would then now, my backyard goes into a pie shape. So I would have
On either side.
on either side,
Yeah.
my backyard would be sandwiched in between commercial properties.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
So just for clarification, and I believe we spoke after the last meeting as well, the motion that was forwarded does preserve the residential aspect towards the rear lot, as we discussed at the last meeting.
Okay.
So this does draw the line. I wish we could show the picture, but it does draw the line fairly near the current existing buildings.
Okay.
If that makes sense. And I think that for myself, I'll say that I chose to support that for the reasons that you brought up in regards to preserving the rear nature of that lot and the green space there and everything else as we discussed.
Thank you. And I will admit I'm more visual, so if I was not understanding or if I saw it on paper, it was.
Yeah, it would be easier if you saw it, but the motion B, it allowed the rezoning for the portion of the lot that was near Middle Belt Road.
Okay.
But not the rear aspect of it. And any kind of development that we discussed previously in regards to adding any kind of additional buildings on the property, that would have to come back before council and have to seek other, with the exception of if it was a single-family home being built back there. Does that make
Understood.
sense? Okay.
Thank you.
He's putting it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, you might see it up here in a second.
Yeah, because I don't know what's happening.
I'm going to go to Councilman Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm in support of this. It's along Middlebelt Road. It's commercial properties all up and down Middlebelt Road. It abuts multiple commercial properties to the south. I think this is in with keeping of the other commercially operated establishments. I think this is more of a clerical matter at this point. The building has been operated in a commercial type of industry for as long as it's been there, which has been a very long time, and I'll be in support. It sounds like we're cutting the property in half, essentially, leaving part of it the existing RUF zoning. Would that green space stay RUF?
To the east.
Mr. Romano?
Which one is it?
It's the
very
top
Okay.
pink.
Correct.
If I may, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, this map illustrates the area that would be rezoned, and I just want to point out that what we're addressing here is a lawful non-conforming use of the property. It's been used for commercial purposes for decades. The zoning that would be provided over that portion of the property really affects the existing commercial use. So we're affirming the use by moving ahead with this zoning. Nothing more is going to happen to the property. This applicant owns the property. She has a permit. She's improving the property. Any expansion of this property or parking lot would have to come back to the Planning Commission and the council for review and approval. So this doesn't change anything with the property by approving this rezoning.
Thank you, Mr. Comina.
Great, great.
Anything else from council before I go back to the audience? Name and address for the record. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Carmen Kelly. My address is 18359 Grimm Street. If you look at the aerial view, the longest border of that property belongs to me. So I have particular concern of not just the present zoning, but what the future zoning is. As the petitioner said, this is going to be a luxury wellness center. My concern is in 5 years when it is no longer, if it is no longer, is it going to be a Chick-fil-A? Is it going to be a Taco Bell? I don't know. So because my green space directly abuts with that, I have a serious concern about that. We talked about zoning half, and at the last meeting, I didn't get clarification that that was kind of what we're doing at this point. What I would like to bring up, and this is an issue that, and I understand, there's ordinance and that sort of thing, but at the last meeting, I did bring up that Livonia is families first, not businesses first. That's what it says on the signs. And part of that is being a good neighbor. Part of being a good neighbor, whether you're zoned RUF or C1, is making sure that your property is acceptable. And I do have a visual that I can pass around. Some of you know I enjoy my visual aids, but this is why I have concerns about the property being zoned C1. And there's 2 pages there. You can kind of see where, this is what I've had to look at over the last couple of weeks, where, these conditions invite blight, pests, those types of things. I don't want that in my backyard. So I want reassurances by the petitioner that this property, even in its current condition, that it's going to be upkept as improvements are made, because it's showing in consideration for the neighbors. She shares 78% of the border with private homes.
That's time, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Toy.
To Mr. Chairman, if I may, is there any shielding in the back for the residents at all, whether it be vegetation or walls or whatever on that site? Because I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, there's fencing along, I think, the south property line. There's a masonry wall along a portion of the north property line. There's nothing that would run along this rear part of the zoning at this point. Any future improvements to the property, it's something that the council could require.
Mr. Chair, if I may, could we go to the petitioner and ask if you're amenable to doing anything, or have you talked to any of the neighbors that now come before us?
Yeah, if you find, yeah.
Please.
Thank you.
My name is Sahar Durant. My address is 200 North St. Clair, Toledo, Ohio. Yes, I did. This is my 3rd hearing. I spoke to the residents. Honestly, at this point, the only thing that I can say is that even before I got this building, there was always businesses here. It was abandoned and vacant when we purchased it. We are improving it, investing a lot of money to make it look a lot better, and everyone is like against it. But either way, the building was still there. Like, I'm not doing anything that is outside the scope of what the building already was. And I don't know what pictures were given, but it is a construction site. We try our best to get the dumpsters out, bring them right back in. The grass was a little taller. I did call the city and let them know it was raining, and then we got it taken care of right away. But other than that, in terms of vegetation, we are pretty far from her, and from my understanding, there's a lot of trees. As of right now, to add vegetation all the way back there would be a huge cost for us, and right now, all our investment is focused on improving the front. I don't think, honestly, I could tell you I could add new trees or anything like that.
No, I'm not talking about trees, but there's different shrubbery that's kind of tall. Don't ask me the names, because I'm not real sure. Cedar comes to mind.
Yeah.
But honestly, I mean, they shield pretty good as far as vegetation. I mean, I'd love to see you do that for these neighbors that are sitting there, and I realize you already have a commercial site, but I own commercial, and I'll tell you, you want to get along with your neighbors.
Yeah.
That's such an important thing to do when you're in business. And, you know, I would hope you'd at least consider, as we move this forward, to put some vegetation back there, you know.
I mean, we are investing in landscaping. We're redoing all the landscaping in the building, but it's a huge lot. So
Yeah.
I'm just being honest, to add a lot of vegetation, that's like costs we have to take into account. And I know you weren't here in the other hearings. They complained about the lighting. I said all my lights will come from the bottom.
Sure.
If I ever do use that part of the lot, I'll make sure I add a fence, vegetation, whatever makes them happy. Even discussing it with the city, I said if we ever do build over there, we'll make sure we're really far from them. And my keywords is, I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable in their home. I don't want to make anyone unhappy. We plan on being there for the long term. I will not sell the building to Chick-fil-A. So that's not going to happen. So my goal is to be here long term and have the neighbors even come and, use the space in the future.
Okay, no, that helps. I mean, I appreciate your honesty and your straightforwardness. If you can find in your heart to, even in the fall, they put shrubbery on sale. Throw some of that
as soon as we open and start making some money, we will invest more in there.
All right, good, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chair and Mr. Jeremina and everyone else.
All right, well, we have a motion on the floor. Anything further from the audience on this matter? Seeing none, anything further from council?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Budzinski.
I just wanted to speak on this matter, and again, just note that the initial request was for the entire property to be rezoned. This is a compromise that mostly covers what is already parking lot for what space has been being used as commercial use. I hope that you will do your best in this new rezoned area, and as you're redeveloping or building that second building, to include greenery. I know that those designs for any changes would come before council for residents to understand that this is step one in a multi-step process. So that's all.
Thank you. Seeing no more communication from council, I am going to ask Madam Clerk to please take the vote.
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovan.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
And President McCullough.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0. We are going to now move on to item number 20, which is a rezone petition. This comes to us from the Planning Commission. It's petition 2024-03-01-02, submitted by Bellagio Homes, requesting to rezone the properties at 19282, 19316, and 19358 Newburgh Road, located on the east side of Newburgh Road between 7 Mile and St. Martin's Avenue. This is to change it from rural urban farm to N2 neighborhood. Public hearing was held on May 31st. Council, I believe this would be a first read.
Mr. President, I'll offer a first read.
We have a first read. Any further comments from council? Seeing none. Any comments from the audience? Seeing none. We have a first read on item number 20. We're going to move on to item number 21, which is a rezone petition from the Planning Commission. Petition 2024-03-01-03, submitted by TCM Development requesting to rezone the properties at 19380 and 19384 Newburgh Road, located on the east side of Newburgh Road between 7 Mile Road and St. Martin's. This again is going from Rural Urban Farm to N2 Neighborhood. Public hearing was held on May 13th. Council.
Mr. Chair.
Vice President.
I'd be happy to offer a first read on this one.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Toy.
may I ask, is this the site where the farmhouse is, the white building, which is looking kind of like it needs some help? Okay, thanks.
Anything further from council? Seeing none. Anything from the audience? Seeing none. All right, we have a first read on item number 21. We are now going to move on to new business, which is item number 2, a waiver petition. This comes to us again from the Planning Commission. It's petition 2024-03-02-06, submitted by Wade Shows, requesting waiver use of approval to conduct a carnival in the parking lot of the former Sears, sponsored by our friends at the Livonia AM Rotary Club, consisting of amusement, rides, games, concession. This is proposed to be from May 29th, 2024 through June 10th, 2024.
Move to approve.
We have an approval from Mr. Jolly, support from Councilwoman Toy. Do you want to come up and at least give a plug for?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much. I'm Joanna Hardesty with Wade Shows and
Pat
Pat.
Zuckel with the Livonia AM Rotary Club.
You guys always do an awesome job. Any way we can do it, send us information. I know we have our community affairs director somewhere around. We could see if we can get some literature out on the city's website too and bump it up.
Excellent, excellent. Thank so much.
Thank you.
Anything further from council?
Yeah, I'll just say real quick, this is an annual thing that you do, and the money raised goes back to the community and all the different efforts that you support. So we have a busy agenda. We're not taking a ton of time on this, but I've seen this 9 times now. And you've done good things with the money you've earned on behalf of the community. So thank you, and thank you to your fellow Rotary members. Thank you.
I thought he was mad because he kept losing on that basketball shoot game. So I was a little nervous when he came out of the gates that fast, I'm just telling you. But with that being said, anything further from council? Anything from the audience? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski. President McCullough.
Aye, and the motion carries 7-0. Don't worry, we have 32 more items right now. Strike that
Thank
from the
you.
record, I'm lying.
Thank you.
We got one more for the regular. All right, item number 23 is a request to waive the formal bidding process and authorize an expenditure from the engineering department for the Fire Station 5 concrete driveway replacement project from budgeted funds. Council.
Move, support.
I go Toy and Tashnik for support. Anything further from council? Seeing none, anything from the audience? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski. Vice President McCullough.
President McCullough.
President,
Aye.
I'm
That's
sorry.
cool.
I was looking
You
at
got
her.
it back.
President McCullough.
All right, so that motion carries 7-0, and that will conclude our regular agenda. Are there any audience communication for items not on this agenda? Seeing none,
Move to adjourn.
Support.
Second.
we are going to resume the study meeting right at 9. Thanks, Livonia.